So, Deadrock is back, and we're starting off where we left off with Yakuto in the underworld. And he's being carried by those paper doll things in his coffin until eventually they just throw him off a cliff. And then they start arguing with each other, but we can't actually see what they're saying because it's in a weird scribble language, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because we actually see these paper doll things talk later, and they're speaking the same language that everyone else is speaking. So either the scribble language is literally just them just yelling and they're not actually saying any words, or they're actively just screwing with the people reading the manga, because it makes no sense why they're not actually saying real words right here. Yakuto wakes up in a pile of coffins, and at first he's confused on what's happening and where he's at, but Tsuru shows up. He's also there. Of course he is, he died as well. And he asks Yakuto, "So, you died too, huh?" And that's when Yakuto remembers, oh yeah, God just one-punched me. So Yakuto is super disappointed the fact that he's dead, but that's when Sasuna decides to pop out of her coffin. And she's been dead for a while, which means she's just been lying there, waiting for other coffins to be dropped down next to her, I guess. I guess she felt lonely, I don't know. But she literally just stayed there until Yakuto and Sasuna showed up. Anyway, Sasuna's disappointed that Yakuto didn't actually kill God, and Yakuto has no way of defending himself. He basically admits, yeah, no, I was a failure. And then he goes, well, bright side, I might be able to see my parents. And that's when Sasuna said, no, I tried looking for Yuri and she ain't here. There are two possibilities. Either they were sent to a different place after they died, or they've already been reincarnated. Being reincarnated, I have my doubts, because apparently that takes 100 years. We'll get to that. So they were most likely sent somewhere else. Yakuto then points out that Laozin and Iji aren't there either, nor is his friend. And Sasuna says, well, maybe they're just bad guys, and so they don't get to go to the land of the dead. But Yakuto says, well, Laozin was a bad guy, but Iji didn't seem too bad. Well, yeah, by demon standards, Iji isn't that bad. He ain't worse than either Sasuna or Yakuto, at least. In fact, I would say Saru is probably the only decent individual there at the moment. So this is why I'm saying there's probably a separate area where other souls are sent after they die. In fact, there's probably more than just two. There's probably multiple. This just happens to be the place that these three ended up at. So Yakuto then thinks to himself, maybe they can get back to the land of the living, but then a voice says, no, your bodies have already been destroyed. There is no going back. They're souls now, and so they will spend all of eternity there. And this voice finally reveals itself. It's a giant ball-shaped man, and his name is Lip. Apparently he's the god of the underworld. And Lip absolutely hates the god of Deadrock. First off, he reveals his true name, which is Elfid, which is pretty interesting because that literally just means elf created. So I guess God might be descended from, like, literal fairies and such, like elves, but I don't know. But Lid does reveal that Elfid is of many gods, just like Lid, but they seem to be the two most important of all the gods because Elfid is the creator of the heavens, the mortal realm, and the demon realm. And then Lid created the underworld, where the dead souls go. And as I said, there are a bunch of other gods, but they seem to be of other domains. I'm going to assume, instead of being the god of creation and the underworld like these two, they're most likely the gods of, like, the sun, the god of the rain, the god of nature, things like that. And so he's basically just giving the down low of who Elfrid really is. And Yakuto says, why are you telling us this? And quite simply, it's because Lid hates him. He says that Elfrid used to be a good man, but now he's not, and he's actively trying to destroy the underworld. And as I said, Lid is the god of the underworld, so destroying his domain is not something he likes. Unfortunately, Lid isn't able to leave the underworld, and so he's not able to attack, he can only defend. And so he's decided he's going to use them to attack God. Sasuna's like, oh, does that mean you're going to resurrect us? And you can see on the side of her face, she's got these rosy cheeks, so she's really happy about this. But then he goes, yeah, that's not how that works. And her face just goes completely like, damn you. No, what Lid can do, and apparently what the underworld was created to do, is reincarnation. But souls only reincarnate into Earth. They're all going to be reincarnated, basically, into humans. Obviously, they're all complaining that seems a little too easy just to reincarnate. But Lid then says, well, you actually have to spend 100 years working to earn 2 keys, and then those 2 keys then allow you to go into the human realm to reincarnate. So Lid decides, okay, I'm going to give you one of the 2 keys right now, but you'll have to work the 100 years to get the other one. That's the rule of the underworld, after all. He can't make any concessions with that. And then he points to a gate in the background, which has 2 giant doors, and he tells them that to open those doors, you need both keys. With only 1 key, you can only open up 1 door. But then he actually points out, okay, but couldn't we just still walk through, like, that 1 door? Even if it's just half open, we can still fit. It's a giant door. And Lid's like, oh yeah, you're right. So yeah, this guy of the underworld's an idiot, and he just gave them free access to just reincarnate. No need to work, no need to do any trials, no need to go through anything. They could just leave now. And so the three of them say, okay, we're going to be reincarnated. Let's go to the human realm. At that moment, that's when one of the paper dolls start running up and screaming about the fact that Alfred is now here destroying the underworld. And when he says he's destroying it, he means destroying it. Like, Alfred is creating a black void that is literally consuming everything around it. It's like watching a virus just eat away at reality itself. You can really see everything just getting erased bit by bit in the underworld. And that's when Alfred straight up tells Lyd he's going to kill him and he's going to destroy the underworld, because when a soul dies, they just need to just disappear. This reincarnation crap just isn't going to fly with him. Yakuto, being Yakuto, decides, okay, let's fight God, even though he knows he can get one-shot by this dude. Like, that happened already. You can't win. And Lyd straight up says, no, you cannot win. Not as you are right now. Just go. I will deal with this. Yakuto knows he's right, and so he has to agree to this. But he asks, okay, what will happen if you lose and the underworld's destroyed? And Lyd straight up says, well, souls will have nowhere to go then. Which means either Lyd is going to die and the underworld's going to be destroyed and now death becomes null, which is terrifying to think about, or Lyd is able to hold off Alfred for a while, forcing him to retreat and basically start this whole game again where Alfred is trying to destroy the underworld and kill Lyd. That's probably the best case scenario, but who knows how this is going to go. So then Yakuto and the others start to run towards the gate. The fight between Lyd and Alfred starts, and apparently this is such an epic fight that the whole area around them begins to fall apart, including the pathway that they're running on, and Yakuto falls. Everyone freaks out like, no, but that's when he's grabbed. And the one who saves him is Hien. That's right. Hien is been dead this whole time, and apparently he's been waiting. And I guess he's going to reincarnate with the rest of them. Now, a lot of people are going to be angered by this. The fact that so many characters who should be dead are going to come back, especially since this is supposed to be a dark fantasy, a story with serious consequences, unlike Fairy Tail. But the thing is, I figured something like this was eventually going to happen, because Mashima always brings back characters that are supposed to be dead. He doesn't like sad endings. Like, go back to Rave Master, which is on the darker end of Mashima's storytelling, and even that very much has a very happy ending the way it was put together. Like, so many characters should have died at the end, but they were resurrected. So believe it or not, this does not bother me because I was expecting it. I'm sure it's going to anger a lot of people out there who do see this, though. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up so you enjoy more Deadrock and other many things. Thank you, and have a great day.